Hello, everybody. Happy Monday morning. How's everyone doing today? Trying streaming from a new location in the house. Let me know the sound might be a little more echoey, but there's nothing I can do about that in the short term. Hope the camera's working okay. Finally got the green screen working. So that's where we stand right now. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Sterling. Sterling with all the news as usual. More money potentially for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Wonderful. Wonderful. US CPI data could move the dollar, you think? Really? Uh hey, household debt tops 1.17.5 trillion and Americans are feeling the strain. Everything's going in debt again, except the rich get richer and the rest go in debt. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, John. Thank you again for tuning in. A what? How would we call this? New, I guess, a member, a subscriber. Hope you subscribe, John. You're here more and more. Good morning, Tony. Grand Rising, Christoph. Sound is great. Well, I hope it is okay. Spent this weekend moving the office location, the new top secret location. It's actually a top secret location on the lower level of the house. So let's take a look at what's coming up this week. Let's take a look. Good morning, Options 22. Good morning, Legion Reaver. Again, we got Bowman, Kashkari. I think there was another one today, isn't there? Let me just check. Barkin also. Yeah, Bowman, Barkin, Kashkari. So we got Fed speak today, but then we got the CPI numbers tomorrow. Inflation and CPI numbers. We also have not much on Wednesday, just the crude numbers and bar speaking. Thursday, we have your unemployment Thursday. We have also PPI, retail sales. Sorry, see, hold on, I just got met. Why am I, okay, Thursday, there we go. We got jobless claims. Where's my PPI numbers? Or are they on? They're on Friday. Sorry, that's what I was messing up. PPI is on Friday. Philadelphia, NY, Empire State, jobless claims, Philly Fed, manufacturing production. So Thursday's somewhat busy. Then Friday we have the PPI, and consumer sentiment. But the big day will be tomorrow with the CPI, whether it will keep dropping or not. This morning, Nvidia just keeps chugging along. Just do a quick refresh here. Nvidia just keeps chugging along. The mega caps are slightly down besides Nvidia. Where's Tesla in here? There, Tesla down pre-market. Another price cut incoming. Oil, the stocks are up a little bit, but oil itself is pulling back. Looking at the sectors, we have nothing really leading today. I mean, you only have technology up 16 basis points. You have healthcare down 28 basis points, but pretty a mixed morning going into the open after the Super Bowl. And we still have the pause for March and the cut in May, and then a bunch more cuts, putting us next March back at 375 to 400 basis points. So, fear and greed, still an extreme greed. So we're still going into Tuesday with CPI numbers. We're at a very overextended market, so we'll have to see if we get that pause or pullback. Earnings this week. Not much this morning in terms of after the close. Yeah, you got Avis budget, not really waste management. Tomorrow you got Shopify, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, not just the beverage, but the whole product brand. So that's going to be interesting to see if there's anything that they say from an inflation standpoint with it easing or anything else. And after the close on Tuesday, you got Airbnb, Robinhood, Lyft. Wednesday, CME Group, Kraft Heinz. What else? Oh, one of my favorites, Cisco, still never regained the .com highs. Talked about that many times. Hopefully the podcast, the Futures Edge is coming out today. So I've not seen it yet for me to post, but hopefully it is coming out today. So keep an eye for that. We do talk about Cisco. John Deere, Crocs on Thursday before the open. Coinbase, Roku, Applied Materials after on Thursday and Friday. We have not much going on. Not much. So that's where it sits now. So what do we have? Good morning, Anissa. Any requests for stocks? Just tag me Sterling. Thank you. Thank you. That really helps when you compile them, Sterling. So what do we have? Oh, we have the Cocoa wedge patterns are stupid or what? Don't matter. That's the Cocoa wedge patterns are stupid pattern, which, you know, it's not that big a pullback. You look at this. If we have, let me just jump to the weekly real quick. On the weekly, which is very overextended, I mean, this is like the longest tear since pre pre 20, since August 1929. So, but you see here, even a return to that longer term trend line. And that longer term trend line, if you look on the daily, that's this lower line, and that's not the target for the wedge is even above that. So, and above that, you see this little thing right there? That's the 4 hour. It's a little sloppy. You can see it here on the 1 hour because it's got the extended sideways. But I'm just looking for that for targets coming down. Remember, against the rotation zone, so lower probabilities with that. But, you know, any sell-off, especially if it gets on a 1 hour close below 5,038.75, 50.35, 50.33, 50.31.25 area. And that just dips it in barely into the 4 hour rotation zone. Now, what's interesting is if you get a further along and you actually start breaking down from this wedge pattern, the key support area is literally this prior breakout area, which is about 50.17. And then, so you have a fair amount of decent support below here. And then look where the daily rotation zone is. You have the prior high from February 2nd with the rising rotation zone. And the 8 EMA is a very powerful area. So 5,000 is a major support. With daily cycles at the top, back and overbought with a divergence. So keep an eye on this. Keep an eye. We've got waning momentum, weekly and daily cycles at a top. Now we just need the rollover to at least confirm that we could go to sideways to down for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Remember, it doesn't have to be a big correction. Even a pullback to the daily rotation zone, which would be 5K, would just at least reset that and get some of this massively overbought condition off the table. To the upside. At this point, 5,100 is the next major target. The next major target is 5,100. Let's see if we got any minor targets. I gotta really hope today's a pausing bar, but at least at this point, I'd use 5,071, and then 5,094 to 5,107 would be what I would utilize. I think this might turn into a pausing day. Remember, we have the CPI numbers tomorrow, and you know, people are still tired, hungover from the overtime Super Bowl, and generally lighter trading. So, any thoughts on the Super Bowl? Any thoughts on the halftime show? So, wondering if anybody watched it. NASDAQ again. This wedge pattern right here. We'll have to see if that's, but we have the little mini double here. Still a lopsided double. You can see it there on the 4. Would need the close below. Just go below roughly about 18,000. If it closes below 18,000, you have 17,975, 17,960, 17,947 area. Then your major support is coming in about 17,850. Based off that, the rotation zone is coming in, closing in on that, is right now about 17,825, but that's going to close in at 17,850 by the time it holds. So that, or by the time if we roll over. So that's the key area. To the breakout to the upside above 18,071, we're looking at 18,158, 160 areas, next target higher. But even this little mini double doesn't even trigger the wedging pattern and doesn't even take it yet back to the rotation zone. You need the wedge pattern to trigger. And then officially, let me just clone this. officially, it would only be, let's see, the targets for the wedge would roughly be at the bottom of the daily rotation zone if it were to fulfill. And on the weekly, I mean, what's the target back on the daily? Could be back to, 17.6. Where does that put it on the weekly? 17.6. Back to the top of the weekly rotation zone. So the bigger pullback area would be 17.6. Tony watched the game but found something else to do during halftime. Enjoyed the halftime show but didn't watch more than that. Real Palms enjoyed the halftime show. Pep is a soccer fan, but we call it football. Well, good. So you didn't watch American football. All right. Thank you for that feedback. Did anybody else besides Royal Palms watch the halftime show? Dow has a little mini double top, would need the close below 38,310. So this is a bigger one than the other two, with the targets 38,000 roughly, 37,824, 37,728. Dow, again, all these cycles are at a top. The Dow's actually closest to the weekly rotation zone. You see here, then that would just take it slightly in, but I'd be really looking at that first target of 38,000 for any initial breakdown. By the way, the next key target, I'm just going to, next target, if it does rally, 39,100, then 39,289, so roughly 39,300. The Russell rallying up on Friday, still between the 50 and the 62.5. Remember, that's where it stalled out before. So I'm going to be watching today, 2024.9. But I'm really watching with this channel. This is sort of channeling now. So, and going into CPI numbers, that could be something to be risky. Personally, we still have cycles going up on the Russell. But if this did trigger, I'd be watching that 2050 as the next key target because of the 75 in the upper channel line. VIX, little elevated volatility today. But if we start breaking back below about 1330, going to watch more for choppy to upwards bias. We hold up here would be choppy to potentially downwards bias. Overall, I'm erring on the side of choppy unless something newsworthy comes out or there's something unexpected, of Fed speaks something, but because there's really little data today. But I'm focused on going into CPI with choppy. The DAX, still holding, closing pretty much right at the wedge area, still holding here. I'm watching for the break below the rotation zone, and then we'll be watching for reconnection for roughly about 16.8 in that. Again, if it pushes higher, still 17,150 is the major resistance and 17,205. Notes, not much progress made on the double. This will probably play out more tomorrow, whether it will be invalidated or whether it will continue. Probabilities say it should, the note should head lower and the rate should go up. But what's interesting is the 10-year has not triggered it. The micro yields have not triggered it yet. You still have the potential double top in play on the daily basis on a close below 4.058. But you have the other way, the double bottom, on a close above 4.196. So we're going to have to see how that triggers. So that's the one I'm watching more than the notes. Good morning, Heinrich. Mahomes magic, but Swift sucks. There we go. Halftime yawn. Yeah. What a joke. America's failing. Why? Is that because of the halftime show? Wounds are still too deep for this 49ers fan too soon. Well, I'm sorry. At least, you know what? It went in overtime. Was entertaining, but now you got the conspiracy theories. You got the conspiracy theories going, so, which were started before. If the Chiefs and the Swifties win, Dollar index. Keep an eye on this. Still holding. Dropped a little below here, but still holding some pretty substantial support right in here. Remember, support is not a brick wall. It's an area still holding the rotation zone. The only thing that really starts making me want to watch for a pullback on the dollar at this point is a close below 103.10. 103.10. Then it will lost all the key levels. Then I'll start looking for the rollover move and the pullback in the dollar. Okay, and we also have a key trend line coming in there. The 50 and that trend line are the last little area, so keep an eye on that. It never got into double top territory, so we don't have that pattern to rely on, but it was still within the rotation zone. Still needs a close above 104.44. Crude, after running up, hitting the 200 again, closing above the 62.5, but hitting that 75. Also, coming back down, if we get above the 77.32, 78.31 would put it back in the thing. And then if we go above that, we'd be looking about 79.32, 80 again to hit the top of the channel. What takes me back down to looking for a bigger pullback is if we really start closing below about 75. Again, if we lose the 75 level. By the way, Natty Gas is just getting hammered. Natty Gas, look at this. Closing in on the lows of 140, 144, 143. I'll be more interested down there to watch for a stronger reversal pattern if it can spike down there. Gold's still doing nothing. Gold's still doing nothing. Gold will probably move tomorrow, though, with the CPI numbers. Yen's still seeing. I mean, this is pushing closer to that magical 150 area and the 87.5 harmonic. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. It's still trailing higher. Euro again into the bottoming area. The bottoming area, going to see if this rotates back down. The only thing that really gets me watching for a bottom, besides if we double bottom in this area, is if it really starts getting above about 108.50 on a closing basis. Besides that, we are still in the key reversal zone, but if it closes below 107, then watch for lower euro prices. Nothing much going on in the pound. Spiders just kept on chugging. Today, slight gap down. So on any up move, first would be the gap fill, 501.20, then 501.65. Above that, we have 503.46, 503.50. The next key level of support is roughly 499.75 to 500. And then we're looking at about 497.25, but that's on a bigger pullback. Is there any other topping pattern? Not just yet. Actually, before that, I'd be looking at 498 for major key support. Again, cycles at the top with divergences. But again, tomorrow's going to be key. Tomorrow's going to be key on the Qs. Coming almost up that 438.50 area. The gap down today, 436.86. So first our upside target would be 437.05. And then the key area would be 437.85 to 438.48 for a key topping area if it goes into choppy bullish. The next target to the upside, 440.80. The full support level is back to 430. Should we break down? That's the first key level of support. The minor support, the minor support is coming in about 433.18. Everything else beyond that, you'd have to use some harmonics, short-term harmonics. By the way, there still is a gap left behind from Thursday to Friday at 432.81. What else do we have? All right, we'll get to Lily in a second. Let me just cover Bitcoin, because Bitcoin finished the inverse head and shoulders with the horizontal modified neckline. Finished that, and you see here's your 62.5. It's also potential double top territory, but that's a long way off from triggering, but really 48,922.50 on a closing basis. Then it would shift the probabilities to a continuation move to the upside. So there you go. In case I don't see Kalani here, but that's where we sit. Good. Where am I now? All right. Tesla. Tesla, another price cut. If it starts breaking below, though, this is still in trailing mode from coming out of oversold with divergences and the percent beat buy. So this is aggressive trailing mode. If it starts breaking below Friday's low, though, 189.48, we could be into the next pullback. Other than that, from my perspective, it's in trailing mode. NVIDIA, I'll get to Lily in a second, gapping up again. Next major target is 758.58, but this thing is getting insane. Look at the pull away from the rotation zone. Massively overbought. Weekly cycles at the top. It's definitely in trailing mode, and we talk about NVIDIA on the podcast. Lily. It's not one I look at very often. Let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have. Oof. Just seeing where we can do some decent harmonics from. We've hit those. So now we got to go to the next pausing bar. Hit those. Whew. I'd be getting cautious. When you can't find solid pausing areas, and you're closing in on the long-term top, 755. So this is in a very toppy area. Very toppy area. I mean, they had strong earnings, but you're really pulling away. Your key support is 705. Key support 705. If it starts breaking really below about 725, I think you're going to start getting in the bigger pullback. Okay, there is still a gap left behind also to 705. So the key support is that 705 area. And then you have another gap behind back to 667. But if it starts losing 705, I'd watch out from the bullish case. At least in the short term. She talking about the Taylor Swift butt wall because oh, you didn't like the you have to have their separate national anthem now. Come on. I'm not gonna. Boy, I'll already get more banned if I start commenting on stuff. Arizona. I'm not in Arizona yet, my man. I'm still in Chicago. Richard Gill, IWM 4-hour. I got Lily. IWM 4-hour. Double bot. I mean, that qualifies, but here we got to look at this. Remember, this is going to be key. It qualifies from the pullback, but your second and third targets are beyond. So no, you cannot use that as a double. Remember, just like the Russell, I'd be looking on a play. Your stronger play would be this upward channel area. And let's take a look at the retracement harmonics. Now that did close about 62.5. So if this comes up, I'd really be looking at the 201 area as the next target. Then beyond that would be 203. That's how I'd set that up. Monthly potential double top in GILD. Oh, that's just ugly though, because this was. See, this is now in triple top. No. Oh, let's. Oh, this. Let's. I mean, yeah, if you get that monthly close. What makes it interesting to me is it roughly would take it back to the 200 month if that breaks down. And you got some key support. Let me go back to that weekly, because this is a triple on the weekly because it already triggered and then invalidated the double there. Really, what I'd be watching for is not necessarily just double the trigger, but if you start getting the weekly close below the 200, I'd then watch for a return to this low area. Uh, EWW. EWW daily. Now that's a, you can even see this on the weekly. Ew. See, we can go with ew. That is a very valid double. That's completely valid. That's a picture perfect one because look at this. Into the rotation zone, moving back up, close below would take it below the weekly rotation zone. I just have it on the weekly instead of looking at the daily, but that takes it below the weekly rotation zone. And that's the same thing as the daily. You can see it here. I'd really keep an eye on that one. Doesn't mean it has to trigger, but that's a beautiful pattern. Percent B buy in Nike. Very demanding this morning. Nike, after stalling out at the first double, percent B buy. Is that negative? Yeah, that's negative 0.4. Negative 0.4. So what did did this close above that high? 104.50. 104. Yeah, that's a percent B buy. All right, we going into the open. So yeah, you can keep an eye on that for Nike. For Nike, little potential also bounce play with a breakout. What else do we have? We have going into the open. Let's just take a look at this short-term price action. So yeah, really, if it's, again, I'm erring for the side of choppy today. Choppy, choppy, choppy. So this line is shifted because I went down time frame. So just really, again, that 5,038, I'd still err on the side of choppy. Let's see how the tick opened. The tick, not a half bad opening in the tick. I mean, not way. I mean, that's, if it keeps going up, I'd see if this can push above 1,000 with that opening right there. I don't want to look at the weekly tick. What did I do there? There we go. But that's what I'd watch for. So with the S&P, to really see where this goes up to, S&P, the key resistance is now between about 50.45 to 50.46. So that's where I'd be watching to see if it tops out and rolls over, or if it can break through that, then a retest of Friday's high area would be key. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Again, new office location. Hope its sound is okay. And no, I'm not in Arizona yet. You'll know. When there's a multi-days off with me not streaming, that's when I'm headed out there. I will talk to everyone later. Have a wonderful, wonderful trading day and trading week. And remember CPI numbers tomorrow and Fed speak today. Talk to everyone later. Bye for now. You are welcome, Anissa.